Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit or Zappy here, back again with Haikyuu. We're on Season 4, Episode 6. Sorry for the delay, guys. I know it's been a while and this show does not deserve to have a hiatus as long as that one was. From now on, it's just not going to fucking happen. I refuse to let it happen again. I believe they have cut off for the halfway point and they're bringing it back in June or July, I believe, but they have, they've basically cut it off halfway, so that at least gives me time to get back into it, back up to the point when they start releasing again. Then I can do it when they get released. Things have been just hectic, especially recently with the coronavirus stuff. Basically work's gone nuts with like the likes of overtime and shit like that. And then I ended up getting a fever last week, so I couldn't do it last week. I've had to basically just catch up with Demon Slayer because I missed out a week on that, so I've just finished recording that. I guess the lucky thing, well, it's not really lucky because, I love it, but My Hero has basically stopped for the time being as well, so, the dub, because obviously the sub's finished anyway, so shit's gone fucking crazy, but it doesn't matter because we're back now. So what I'm aiming to do is get out 2 episodes a week publicly. For this week it'll be 4 episodes because the 2 that are going up, episodes 6 and 7, will be for the public. If you want to get access to 7 and 8 immediately after, 8 and 9 after this, then you can do immediately by going over to my Patreon and becoming an early access tier patron. I would get them all out sort of publicly, but in this time where I'm not working, I could really use the help. So it just is what it is. But yeah, so I'm gonna get out 2 episodes every week, and that will be done before the show picks back up again. So we should be good to go. But anyway, yeah. So last episode, I believe they all came back from their training camps, right? So we had Kageyama come back from the international youth camp, and then we had Suki and Hinata come back from the sort of the youth camp for first years over at Shiratorizawa. All right. Now, if I recall being a bit disheartened by the fact that they were coming away so soon, because it's only episode 5. Though I guess they kind of just have to start getting into stuff, I suppose. And with them having to take a break halfway through, I imagine they're sort of picking up on some animation and stuff, which is a good sign because that means they must be, working hard and getting a lot done animation wise, which I'm excited for. Because Haikyuu's had some good visuals in the past, which I know they reuse things, sometimes receiving the ball from a serve and stuff. I've seen that a lot, but it doesn't matter because it's not about those little things that they have to reuse and everything like that, but the intricacies where they don't reuse stuff. That's where it's at. It's the reason why it's called Haikyuu. So yeah, so they came back. I believe, even though I was disheartened, I think everything with the first year youth camp, so everything with Suki and Hinata, we didn't really see a lot of Suki, but with Hinata in particular, I feel like he learned a lot of things that he was definitely missing, especially in the rotation of the games and stuff like that. When he's on the back end, I think normally they took him out, didn't they? When he was on the if he was in the back 3, they would take him out and throw Nishinoya in, wouldn't they? So I think what he's done there, by being at this camp anyway, he's basically learned a lot of receiving techniques, and sort of the mental game as well, which I really like. The fact that he's been working on his sort of mentality in the game, which that's really cool. I feel like everything with Hinata done, I'm fine with that, and he's learned a lot in a short space of time, so I was fine with that. It's more on the Kageyama side. I want to see more of that. I feel like we didn't get a lot, and just as he was getting feeling starting to feel it and stuff, I feel like if it was written that way, that was really good. That was really, really good writing, because then you're put into the shoes of Kageyama, because he was I'm starting to lift myself up, and he feels himself rising to the level of the people around him, and playing with those kind of players would feel really, really special to him, I imagine. In fact, the fact that he's just starting to feel that now, and then he's dragged away, if it's written that way on purpose, then that was perfect, and I really like that. But it's the thing that's interesting about that is him coming back, and especially for the fact that they've got a practice match against Datako now. I feel like that game is just a write-off for Karasuno. I feel like Datako is going to win that, because they're due a win. the only time they've ever won that we know of in this show was before the show even happened. Like, that in the timeline, that was before the show even started, right? Like, Asahi, like, you know, they had that whole thing in season 1 with him against Datako, right? So, like, they lost then, and then I think they beat Datako again in season 2, and that, like, they are due a win, you know, because Datako are one of those teams that are like a prevalent team in the whole, like, that, you know, in the whole show, that, you know, they keep coming back, and they've got that sort of like rivalry that you know, like the same like other teams have, like Seijo and Shiratorizawa and whatnot, but like they haven't won yet. And I think now that's what they're going into. They're bringing this whole thing with Kageyama back, because they talked about him being the king again. That one guy, was it Atsumu? Mia Atsumu, I think that guy. Yeah, because he was the other setter, right? And he was the one that brought that back up. And then with Kageyama sort of becoming a part of that sort of international team and getting used to that, it makes me wonder if going back into Karasuno, and this isn't a dig at Karasuno, it's just that, well, clearly the players that he was playing with in the international youth team were like, they're just better players individually all round, that he's going to expect too much of them for Karasuno for this match, and that's going to cost them the win, I think. I feel like that's where they're heading towards, so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, they're all coming back now, and yeah, I'm rambling on, so I don't need to talk about this any longer. We're just going to get in episode 6 and see what we get. So unlike other shows, this show will remain on YouTube. It'll just be there, no, it'll be there in the corner. It'll just be like transparent, like faintly transparent, you know, but it'll be there anyway. But if you do want to go watch the full length and not just the 10-minute version here, then you can do it by clicking the link in the description, and you will have to be a full length tier patron in order to access that. But it'll give you the whole reaction to like the entire episode. So, you know, go have that if you want. But yeah, there's nothing else to really talk about. So we're going to get in episode 6 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. I wonder if he meant like that by, like, you will jump higher, you know? Yeah, just a bit.
いたじゃなかったっす。コートかよ。バレーはどうだったんだよ。猛者どもが集まってたんだろ。はい。
As opposed to what?
ひなた、ユースには乗り込まなかったんだな。いや、逮捕されるからやめたそうです。逮捕？月島。東京に乗り込む気だったんですよ。そいつ。ご迷惑おかけしました。
Look at these proper starfish here.
単品じゃ役に立たねえだろ。うっせえなもう。喧嘩から平和を感じる。
Enhancements.
やつさん、そのテープ何？
ネットを9分割してるんだよ。先週からずっとサーブ強化週間でね。鵜飼さんが毎回コースを狙ったり確認したりしながら打ちなさいって。
70%。
Yeah, it's a really good point, because their serves have never been like the forefront of what they do, have they? I mean, even Yamaguchi, who even Yamaguchi, who like has the jump float serve. Even this guy has one. Who is that? Have we come against a team that has a jump float serve? Come on, Yamaguchi. Go on! Oh dear. Yeah, he's setting himself up for the receive. Is he going to receive it? It was good. But he probably could, he did much better than what he did before. They're like, oh, what? Third years.
もっと飛べるってなんだよ。お前 ちょっとオープン打て。お前のジャンプはピョピョーンなんだよ。はい。でもすげえジャンプはドンだ。なんつうかこうピョピョーンって勢いで飛ぶだろう。
Like a rabbit.
気温の残念さがすごいな。
Oh wait, what?
飛んでるし、お前いつもジャンプの時どこに体重乗ってる？
Tippy toes, right? On like your whatever this part of your feet's called. Like not the palm, but whatever this bit. Because you can't be flat foot, right?
影山帰ってきてから小難しい顔してる気がすんの。気のせいかな。
もう一回。
Oh dear.
やっぱすげえ。やっぱこいつうめえんだな。子宮に体重その勢いを。
Yeah, it is. It's yeah, it is. I figured.
うめえ。
That was sick. Oh come on, Daichi! He was right there. Oh, he's doing the hit I think. Wait till we're onto the ledge, looking over, looking through. He's just about to get it as well. Fuck.
合宿から帰ってきてから日向がたまにすごく静かになるなって思って。
Because he's focusing on the game, I think, isn't it?
月島、小金川がセッターの時の方が高いところから打ってた気がする。
ユースの報告は聞いたけど、なんつうか、どうだった？何か悩み事とか。
ナイス。
あ、そう。
お利口さんってどういう意味だと思いますか？
さすがユース、なかなかのクセ者が嫌がるな。スパイカーが打ちやすい以上に最高のトスはない。うちのジジイに散々言われたことだ。そこだけは迷う必要はねえよ。もうそろそろ着く頃だな。ああ。
I mean, that's what like Carl was good at, right?
Huh?
Like giving the perfect setup to the different people and what they wanted,
最高の相手ですよ。
I like the continuation of that.
よし。
Has he got something new? Still don't think they'll beat Datako, but we'll see. Yeah, look at that hair in the middle. Fuck. No.
相変わらずすげえやつか。ロックオンすんなって。月島、小金川がセッターの時の方が高いとこから打ってた気がする。
Oh god. Oh really? He's that annoyed. That Kokanigawa got more out of him than what he did.
全国でも確実に通用するブロックだ。いいか、この半年でさらに磨きがかかった伊達校のブロック、その壁になれろ。
Look at those graphics. Wait, Ione was a second year? Did they always know that before? I hope they have this for the whole nationals. I hope they do. I really do. Sick. Block it immediately. They're bunched. Oh, they all re-blocked at the same time. Whoa. Damn. Whew.
いいブロックはスパイカーだけでなく、接待に相当なストレスを与える。影山にとっては。
Oh, this is what's.
戦よりきつい試合になる。
Oh, this is what's going to be, isn't it? This is what's going to push him to ask for too much, and that's where he becomes the king again, isn't it? It's going to happen. Oh, I can see it. I can see it. I can see it coming already.
対もっと日向に食いついてくると思ったのに。バンチシフトでしたか。
バンチシフトってのは真ん中にブロッカーが集まって構え、相手のどの攻撃にもできるだけ複数で対応するための陣形だ。ただし真ん中に寄ってる分、サイドからの速い攻撃への対応が難しい。
But using the read block.
効率のいい陣形に思えますが。
Yeah, but if they're all read block, they're all going the same way.
でも鍛錬されたバンチリードは怖えぞ。
That had to come from Ione, right? Because he was the only one that could read block last time.
あらゆる攻撃に対して常に複数の壁を形成することを目的とする。
That's nuts, man! Like fucking the Tetris wall! They still got the point though. That was interesting. I had two going up for the receive there. Where do you go? Too much for him. Oh no, he didn't go for Suki. He went for Daichi instead for the... Oh man. Man.
今俺はライトからの攻撃を最善と思ったが、今確かにプレッシャーに押された。今打手工のブロックに真ん中以外を選ばされた。
I'd like to see that wall against like Seijo or Shiratorizawa or something, you know? Like now would be an interesting match. He's putting them up there with that. He's put them up there because Date Tech hasn't been, compared to the other teams relatively, they haven't been up there, but now. Whoa, that was cool. That was a... Oh, is he? Nah, fuck. What's this new thing he wants to try? I want to see what... Ah, the bastard! Come on, Nishinoya. Thunder! Nice. That's the first time we've seen him use it in a game, right? What? Oh god. Is that where it's ending? Oh, come on. Okay, episode 6. Right, yeah. The feeling that I had is definitely coming true. So, I mean, I feel like this kind of set it up anyway with Kageyama at the international youth camp. Because back in the episode, I can't even remember if it was like, was it episode 4 or was it actually episode 5 where the guy, where the Miyu, I think it's Miyu, called him the king, or referenced that, right? Like, even from then, it just felt like bringing that back up from people, like, because, you know, he never really liked being called that anyway. And then, but, like, I guess being told it from somebody who he would consider to be respectful towards, like, you know, those guys who, because at the end of the day, like, he can have the tendencies, not the tendencies, the qualities on the court of being the king when he's surrounded by, like, all of those talented people that are able to, like, you know, like I said, accommodate him. So, it's kind of just one of those things that I just felt like it was definitely coming up, and especially in this episode up against Datako now, it absolutely, it's definitely coming true. Like, he literally just said, "You're in the way," you know, to Nishinoya, which Yeah. It's definitely coming. It's definitely coming. It does. I think that does. At the beginning of the episode, when Kageyama told Hinata that you can jump higher, I think that's what it was he was. It wasn't like a sort of passive way of asking you can jump higher. I think it was more like a direct, like, I'm telling you can jump higher. Because I think it's like in Kageyama's mind, it's not that he's like, I have to become the king in order for, like, you know, us to sort of grow, I guess. It's not really that, more than it's just he doesn't feel like he is saying anything wrong there. I think it's just a case of, like, he is infuriated that he can't like go 100%, because if he does, the teammates around him can't match it, right? So I think what he was doing there, it was like, it may have been a subconscious thing on Kageyama's level, basically saying, like, look, you can jump higher because I need you to jump higher, because I am going to fucking, I'm going for it, right? So you need to be able to accommodate that. And in a way, it's interesting that so far, and granted this is just one episode since they've gotten back, so, you know, there's plenty of time for maybe, like, Hinata to not do what Kageyama asked for. But it is interesting that Kageyama specifically asked, like, you know, Hinata to stay back and, you know, let's hit some. Because Hinata was on the verge there of actually getting it before Daichi fucking interrupted. He was there. He was getting it. He had it. The animation was there. It was going to fucking happen. If the animation happens, it fucking happens. That's the rule. and Hinata was doing it. He was in the middle of it. And then Daichi fucking, you know, he did a Hinata and grabbed a hold of the ledge and... Ah, fuck's sake. So, it's like trying to get a grasp of, like, what Kageyama wants to say, wants to do, versus, like, what he... Because all I'm thinking is, he's got to know that Hinata's the because in a way, Hinata is the talented one in terms of, like, athletic ability. Like, his being able to jump as high as he can and as quick as he is. On that front, he's got the talent on that end. So the thing of Hinata is that he has to grow in his technical ability, but he's got the athleticism to get there. And I wonder if that's the thing, like Kageyama's... Well, obviously he's always had that partnership with Hinata anyway. Yeah, it's... Dadago's winning this. The Tetris Wall is winning it, right? That's what I'm calling them now, the Tetris Wall. Because that's how it built up. Did you see it? It fucking had the L-shaped one there. Had two of them, actually, that went around the square one. It's the Tetris Wall, man. You know what I mean? And if you're not quick enough, they're going to get higher. So you've got to get over the top before they get high enough. Which, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting the way that they sort of actually work, like, the way that they talked that out about the whole... Because we've seen Reed blocking before, we've seen Ione do it. He was specifically the one, right? Because each team that we, like, associate with Haikyuu, like, each team that the Karasuno has gone up against, they've always had that one player specifically that is their sort of star player, right? That is in that team. Of course, you have the other one, like, you know, there's the likes of, you know, Nekoma is obviously a difference because their whole team is built around, like, you know, where, you know, like, we work like what's the blood analogy, right? So they're like their whole thing is all about teamwork, and that's what that is. But for the other teams, it's pretty much one character that they've focused on, specifically when introducing the teams and whatnot, and specifically in their first like sort of matches with each other and whatnot. But generally, Datako was Ione, right? And he was the one that was read blocking. Now that has transferred to the other two, Kaganigawa being one as well. Can't remember what the other guy's called. But he was there definitely with Ione the first two matches they played against anyway, the Karasuno. So I think it could be a case of like Ione has given them tips or like, you know, worked with them on that. Even though he's very quiet and he never says anything. But he's the one that used to do the read blocking anyway. Now, I mean, back to the original point, the idea that they read block and they bunch up. How do you beat them then? Is it just going to be a case of a battle of attrition? Like, and yet, like, it's going to be... Because at that point, like, it's going to be just a case of you're going to have to get them worn out. Because there's, like, let's be honest, if they're read blocking, they have to literally, like, put everything into seeing where it goes, and then they have to maneuver and jump. Now, doing that over and over and over again, like, it's got to take some toll on your body. And it's not like, you know, that would take more out of you than, you know, than normal blocking. So, is it just going to be a battle of attrition? Or what? Granted, we haven't seen what Asahi's up to, because Asahi said that he's got something he wants to try. I wonder if it's like a feint kind of thing. Maybe that's what you have to do here. Because a feint is... When you're spiking the ball, you have to spike it down. Like, you have to spike it down. There's no other way about that. Because with a spike, you're hitting it at full force to the ground. And it has to be within the margins, right? So it has to be down. If you're feinting it, you're not propelling the ball in a certain direction at full pace. You're slowing it down, possibly even spinning it backwards over the top of the wall, which I feel like would be a better solution to facing them, you know. I think another one as well. I mean, it would be more tough, I suppose, with the whole like having 3 people bunched up, but doing the whole what's his name? Fuck's sake, from Fukuro Dani. What is his name? Bokudo. Bokudo does the side thing, right? Now, we've seen Hinata be able to pull that off before. He's done that once, right? I think that might work better than just straight ups. But then again, like, you need other people to be able to do that, and I don't know if Asahi's like able to do that. So it's gonna have to be like not a straight spike. I don't think that's gonna work. You have to have feints, or you have to, you know, somewhat like that idea. The thing is as well is that you can't dump against them either, because they stay in line with the setter, really, don't they? And then they move to. What if you move the setter? Is there a way like you can get the setter to one side of the net and have him propel the ball? Because we saw Aikawa do that. He did it off the fucking court, you know? So it's definitely possible to do it at one side of the court. But then, I mean, that's something that you're just going to have to work on, so it's not something they can do in this game. This game's down to the spikers. Kageyama's not going to be able to do anything in this game. I can feel it. Or like, he's going to be basically stopped at every turn. He's not going to be able to do anything, and obviously that's what's going to get him to be the king. So I can just see it happening. I can just see it. So yeah, they've been working on. I do actually remember that the little time that we had that we went back to Karasuno when the other like lot were at their training camps and whatnot. We saw them sort of start that whole thing of serving, because that's something in their game that they've never been great at. Like, I don't know, actually, I don't think they've ever actually scored a point from a serve, have they? There may have been one where it hit the net and it rolled over. That may have happened once, but other than that, like, that obviously wasn't meant, was it? You know. Oh well, yeah. Of course. Aside from Yamaguchi, of course, he got that significant jump float serve. Of course. So yeah, it's great that they're sort of they're working on them, so that can be like, you know, something that we can see like in the future. And yeah, I mean, speaking of jump float serves, we have that one guy who I assume is one of those second years that didn't really get much time. Which is good, because I recall like back in like a previous episode, previous season more likely, the idea like, you know, getting the second years involved that haven't had a chance to, you know. I mean, they'll get their time when the third years, and like, because I think this is their last tournament, isn't it, before the third years go, so they will get their time. But one of them being a jump float server, I don't like the idea of that. Because that means Yamaguchi's like in second place. Like, who are that guy? I don't know who that guy is. But how are we? How can he be that good? We've never heard of him before. He's been in the background. I know there's specifically one second year that was good. But well, he had like a moment in a match where he actually went in for, and like, you know, whereas the other ones never got a chance to. We haven't seen them play yet. But how can he be that good if he can pull off a jump float serve like that? And even though they say that Nishinoya is not very good with the overhand stuff, like, he beat Nishinoya's receive. He beat it with a jump float serve. So why have we never seen him before? It's weird. You know, and Yamaguchi like missed his jump float serve again. They're really fucking like dragging that out a lot. Like, Yamaguchi's been training that jump float serve for 3 seasons now. Granted, season 3 was only 10 episodes, but, you know, I mean, I guess obviously in the time period of, like, you know, of what you would call real time, I guess it hasn't really been that long. And the idea of a technique behind a jump float serve is quite it's quite tricky to pull off, I suppose, right? So I suppose, but they're really dragging that out, which, you know what, I'm kind of fine with, because that it puts Yamaguchi in that sort of character mind frame of like, he's a hard worker and he's patient, because, you know, like, I remember when he went up to the guy who was teaching him, like, who ended up teaching him the jump float serve, and he was like, you know what I mean, I want to have my place in the team, and I don't want to just feel like I'm there doing nothing. You know, like, it feels like he really wants it, and he wants to have that, to be able to have that place in the team, even if it's just to come in for a serve, you know. But being able to help the team in a way is great. And I think Yamaguchi is really underappreciated. But because he is understated in that way, I think it just makes it, when he does come in and he lands something, means that much more. I've said this a lot of times in other reactions to other things. If even though the what I'm talking about is completely different, like, you know, I bring up Bakugo all the time. But Bakugo, because he is so fucking overzealous and over the top all the time, that when he is calm and collected, or he actually is being genuine and sincere in something, it makes a hell of a lot more of an impact. So the same thing applies here. Like, because Yamaguchi is so understated and not being great at this moment, when he gets something, it means a hell of a lot, you know. It means a very very it means a lot. I don't know why I put very in there. Anyway, so yeah. Hinata's receive. Yeah, of course, I was going to go over. Like, what? What happened there? Because I mean, I guarantee that was the last thing any of them were expecting. That Hinata learned some kind of defensive technique and receiving at that as well. And that's the thing as well. It's something like, it's interesting to have him be put in that position, because he would only be willing to receive in the back line, right? So, but normally him being taken out for Nishinoya, and he comes in as the libero, puts pressure on the other people in the back line. Like, do you take Hinata out? Probably not. But it does mean that when the third years do eventually go, that if Hinata was to step in, he's able to to do it. Because obviously what we saw there is he still wasn't able to truly hold on, but he stopped it, and that's the main thing. He's making progress. So yeah, there's that. Kageyama as well. Back to Kageyama, talking about the sound effects in relation to the jumping. I thought was really funny, because they've talked about like certain things in sound effect terms since the very beginning of the show. Like, Hinata does it, going like whoosh and bam and all that kind of stuff. And I find it funny that somehow came back in an actual way that makes sense. I can't believe it. Like, because of the sound that it makes when you hit the balls of your feet in the perfect way that allows you to propel yourself upwards so that you can jump higher. They managed to do it. They managed to make it somewhat make sense. Fantastic. But yeah, I think I was right. So the balls of the feet are like, so at the back ends of your toes is like these bits, except on your feet, right? And not your heel, which would be like here. So yeah, he does, yeah, the balls of his feet, which I figure that's what he was doing anyway. Because I mean, how else do you jump? I don't know. I don't know about that one. It's a bit odd, that one. Like, because I wouldn't think, like, because it's the thing, Kageyama was talking about the impact, like the sound that it made when it hit the floor. That somehow will clarify that he's hit the perfect point in which he can propel himself. Like, it shouldn't matter how hard you hit the floor, because that's not how it works. It's the propel upwards that gives you the jump height. It's not the downwards force. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. A bit odd, that one. Yeah, they talked about obviously the bunch shift where they bunch up together, and the spread shift, which is like basically one in the middle, two at either side across the whole net. The two dolphin dive receives were interesting. Like, when did they learn that? Did we see them learn that? Because it seemed like no one really talked about it. They just, well, when they did talk about it, the opposing team basically said they've gotten better at receives. But having like Tanaka jump out in front and then Hinata was behind just in case, it's interesting. I don't think we've ever seen them learn that one, but that was cool though. That was cool. I like that. Because it's basically giving you a fallback if one misses, especially because, I mean, when you're dolphin diving, you're literally getting it to hopefully get a hold of it. You don't really have much control over those ones, so having someone behind in case you do never like miss it, then it's a good little tactic. But I don't think we ever saw them practice that, but it was cool though. And then Kageyama giving Date Tech props. That was really nice to see, and like putting them in a visual like amongst the other top teams is cool, because like I said, Date Tech was always that team that like they were the least of the prominent teams, you know, like they were the team like they're not that great, are they? You know, because since the start of the show they've been beaten by everybody and they've never had a win. So it's just one of those things where it's nice to see them advance, you know, to a tier that Kageyama puts them up like with everybody else. And that's why I was saying, like, in the middle of the show, like, it would be cool to see them go up against those teams now, even though we're not going to be able to see it because Haikyuu and all that's moved on. You know, so it's a shame, but nevertheless cool. And yeah, I mean, that's all I've got for this episode. So thank you everyone for watching. Episode 7 should be out the same day as well, so look out for that. But yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I have links to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you wish. And I also have a Patreon page as well. So if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There's things like early access there, where you can gain access to shows a week early. Like, you know, if you want to gain access to episode 8 and 9 right now, of course you need to go watch episode 7. But if you want to get access to those 8 and 9 right now, you can do by going over to my Patreon page and getting the early access tier. And then obviously full length there if you want to watch any of these episodes in full. And then there are other tiers where you can pay to have a show reacted to as well. So if you want me to react to a show, go look at those tiers and see what they offer. But that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.